I want to ask you
Athena
if
just doubled the amount she's changing.
how much does this compare? How does this compare to other human rights abuses? Is this mild or worse, or can you even apply a scale? What you're observing here, how does it compare?
I don't apply a scale because I think a person who's been tortured or whose family has been bombed or who's lost a home is a terrible affront to humanity wherever it occurs. I do think that there are certain situations which are illustrative of our increasing crisis in the international foreign policy system and our protections and conventions that are designed to uphold human rights. And I think that the situation in the Palestinian territories is on the front lines of that struggle right now.
Could you, I don't want to talk international politics, but I want you to elaborate on that point just for a second. So that this has, what you're saying is this has great significance in terms of human rights law and its application, or international standards. Is that, am I hearing you right on that?
No doubt about it.
Okay.
And as John Ging told us,
yes,
we are just about out of time on this. You need my $100.
Do you want anything?
I can't. I don't have any more money. I'm sorry.
I'm going to give you
So you need an ATM.
you know, I bought a lot of stuff the other day, Gail. So,
Lunch? You got lunch?
oh, I got plenty of that. Yeah, thank you so much.
You know, I have watched over more than 30 years the change in the climate of human rights protection from the point of view of the masses, as we might call them, going from a period of little knowledge of their rights to a period of hope and encouragement based on the proliferation of human rights organizations and structures and the advancement of international law with its protections. And then the setbacks as the global community responded with more and more techniques to undermine human rights protections. And I think what Israel has been doing over decades has occurred in many other countries, but perhaps rarely as openly, as publicly, and with as broad a base of information around the world aware of exactly what was going on. There is no one who can say what's going on in Israel is a surprise or is new or is undocumented. Everyone knows what it is.
Okay.
Israel flaunts international law
Yes.
time and time and time again.
Yes.
And this is where the structures collapse.
I see.
Because every time international human rights law is openly violated and not upheld,
Yes.
we take a chink out of the
Yes.
wall.
Yes.
And it's about to collapse, and we're seeing it collapse around the world, and I don't think people are aware enough about that.
Yes.
But it's a crisis that is more serious than the international financial crisis.
And so, wait, I just want to look at the martyrs for a second. So, inasmuch as countries like the United States, and the most powerful country in the world, inasmuch as it can, let's say, change on this thing and uphold the rule of law, then it will set a very powerful example for our work, Americans' work elsewhere in the world. Okay.
Exactly.
I want to get back, though, to the just objective, quote-unquote, objective aspect of this, because this is the only one I focus on. How does this compare? I mean, you're saying that these abuses are very much like other abuses in other countries. Is that, I mean, that they're not outside of your experience. What you're seeing here is within the range of your experience of human rights abuses. Is that?
Yes, but I think what is different is the extent to which international human rights law is flaunted openly,
Yes.
not only by the offending power, but by the United States and the ineffectiveness of the international organizations. I cannot think of another situation where it amounts to that.
Okay.
We've seen in
Got it. But just to conclude my analysis of this, for my own purposes, I mean, when my mother would say that their country's doing far worse than Israel is doing, these things are penny ante compared to other countries' human rights abuses, which is essentially the argument I get, that this is sort of, it's not even that bad compared to what other countries are doing. What's the response to that?
That's absolutely untrue. And
It
what's
isn't?
happened here is, in my opinion,
Yes.
is genocidal.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that I've done a formal study to characterize it as genocide, but it is genocidal in every way.
What does that mean?
Undermining of it.
Yeah.
This is an attempt which is to destroy the civilization, as we say, of the Palestinian people. And rarely have we seen this done over such a long period of time, in such a small space, and with such a direct role of it's my money, I'm Jewish, my tax dollars, my government has such a direct and prominent role. I can't think of another situation around the world where we have so much responsibility for the blood that has been shed in Palestine, the trauma that is ongoing here over such a long period. The U.S. responsibility there is perhaps greater than anywhere else in the world.
Right,
I
here.
cannot accept it here, right
Yes,
here.
yes.
This is the front lines of that.
Yes.
That's why
Okay.
it's unacceptable.
Okay. Once I was having a discussion with a friend, another Jewish friend, about why we were engaged in this question, and we're both intellectuals to some degree, and we were talking about, and I said that something about these issues, and he said, look, Phil, one of the reasons, apart from our Jewish identity issues, that we're engaged on this, one of the reasons we're engaged is because it's an intellectual feast in terms of the issue, the Nakba, Jewish history. I don't mean to, insult you with that kind of statement, but it's a true feeling that the Jewish history, European history, American history, the Jewish law, many great intellectual questions come to bear right where we are. And he said, look at the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict. He said 20,000 people have been killed, or gave me the number, and he said, that's a bad day in the Congo. You see what I'm saying? Do you have any response to that interchange?
I think that the systematic nature in which this has been perpetrated has a level of criminality and flaunting of international law by highest levels, not just of Israel, but of the international community has been complicit in this. Because of their failure to take action, that makes this different from these other cases, which were brewing, surging, at times volatile.
Yes.
This is very sophisticated repression, very controlled repression over such a long period of time, using, perfecting in a cynical and sick, diseased way the insanity of the horrors that are being perpetrated on the Palestinian people, which really is a test of all humanity. If we allow this to continue, we have lost our humanity.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Phil.